Hello, everyone. Welcome to HCA 410 Healthcare Finance. My name is Chris Gibbons. I'm going to be your instructor for the next 8 weeks. And for those of you that have had me in other courses, welcome back. As some of you do know that have had me before, I like to do a little syllabus walkthrough. So in this welcome video, we're going to spend a few minutes just going over the syllabus, kind of getting a big picture of what's going on with the course. So with that, let's go ahead and get that syllabus up here in just a moment. But before I do that, you may want to pause the video and print the syllabus out so you can follow along as I'm talking about it. I always think it's a great idea to have a hard copy of that syllabus. Just print that out, fold it up, and keep it in your textbook. All right, so pause that video and come right back. Well, hopefully you've come back and you're watching me and you have that syllabus in hand. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to go ahead and remove my picture here. At least get it up in the corner over there and bring in the syllabus. Ta-da, there's the syllabus. Okay, so some of the basics on the on the contact information. What I would like to emphasize is I'm not a big fan of virtual office. Please kind of use that for yourselves to talk about. But or to post questions that you would like in my weekend reviews. So if you have an urgent question, the best way to do that is text message me. And as you can see here, my cell phone number is right on there. So text me. What I do ask, sometimes I run multiple courses at the same time, different sections. I'm dealing with 130 of you, and I don't know what, I get you all confused or what classes you're in. So I don't know necessarily what class you're in. So please, every time that you text me, please just say, your name and the class that you're in so I can have a frame of reference of what I'm talking about. And with that, I should be able to get back to you much quicker than email or virtual office. So let's do that. Now, if you have things that are private or things that you maybe, well, texting would do, but that would be longer than text messaging would really conveniently allow. Please email me, do that as well. Do expect, about a 24 to 48-hour turnaround depending on when that email was sent. Or if it's an urgent matter that's too long for, let's say, a text message, you could always say, hey, Chris, I sent you an email explaining blah, blah, blah. And then I'll go to the email knowing that it's there. Okay, so we got that. And if you want questions more global, not so urgent, place those in the virtual office. The questions that are in the virtual office, students are free to answer those with themselves. So then, if you know the answer to another student's question, feel free to go ahead and post that answer. But I will also address those questions in my weekend review. So that's something a little new I'm going to try with this class is sort of have you guys compile a list of sort of the big picture questions that I can go over in those weekend reviews. All right, so that's a little bit about contacting me. All the information there. Don't hesitate. If in doubt, contact. Okay, great. Next, we got general ad drop dates. I don't speak for the pure accuracy of those, but I think I've got them all correct. Always refer to the college catalog, of course, for any of the ad drop dates. But I do like to provide those as a convenience for you. But I hope to gosh, no one's going to want to drop this course, right? It's finance. It's great. You're going to love it. So, but sometimes things happen in life and you got to rearrange your schedules. And it's important to know when those ad drop dates are. Course objectives, I'll let you read those, but basically, I'm not trying to make you the finance guy of the hospital, but I do want to give you the solid foundation, the financial principles that you'll use as a healthcare manager administrator, which is critical. That's probably half of your job is dealing with the money, and the other half of your job is dealing with all the people problems. So, dealing with that, I think it's very essential that this course is kind of a fundamental cornerstone in your development as a manager, as a supervisor, as a leader in healthcare. Textbooks required. All right, the great textbook. Okay, I know you guys love this textbook. I'm reaching over here for it. All right, so we've got this Gopinski's Healthcare Finance. Hopefully you have that, and hopefully you have the sixth edition. Make sure you have that one. Also, we'll be pulling a couple case studies out of the case study companion book that goes with that. So hopefully you have the case study book. If you don't, I will be providing, I guess, PDFs of that. So I know some of you did not have the book in my last class, accounting, so I will provide PDFs of that, but the publisher doesn't really like me doing that. But we're only going to use, we'll use two of the case studies out of that book. All right, so we have that as well for the two required textbooks for the course. Optional stuff. All right, we're not going to do any video presentations for this course, at least on your end. Um, but I don't want to throw you for a loop. But I am going to ask that we're going to be using either a financial calculator, don't freak out, or a website. So, and I'll provide some information for you. Let me grab my phone here. There is some great apps that you can get, right for your phone, and I'll talk about those in a separate video. Some of them are free, some of them are a couple of dollars. I mean, no one has a standalone calculator anymore, and we're just going to go over some basics. And I don't want you to go out and spend a ton of money on a calculator that we're only going to use for a few modules. But you can't get through a finance course without doing some time value of money calculations. And we're going to be hitting that up in modules 1 and doing some other stuff down the road. So I did find some nice websites that are free that we can use. Basically, they're calculator simulators. Or I'll show you, kind of give you my recommendations on what to do with that. Other technology, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you got a working laptop and you're good to go with that. Online course delivery, well, of course, it's an online course. We'll skip all that stuff down there. Grades, this is I guess the meat and potatoes here of what we're doing. We've got our progress journals, which I really like to do, but I am going to, for those of you that had accounting with me, I am going to cut back the frequency of those progress journals. I think we could still maintain a really good flow of communication, and I could be more timely or more thorough with my feedback. But we're going to be doing 4 progress journals. It's a good way just for us to talk, see how you're doing in the course. Some weeks I might have some specific questions to stimulate a little conversation. Other weeks it may be just, hey, how you doing with your courses? How you doing in this course and with your courses? As many of you know, or and for some of you that don't know, I'm the director for the Healthcare Administration program, also for about I don't know, 6 other programs here at the college for our short-term education area. But as the director of the healthcare administration program, I am fully vested in your success, not only in this course, but also in the program. Even if you're not in the HCA program, maybe you're in medical imaging or nursing, I want to know how you're doing, kind of big picture as well, and making sure that everything is okay. So we're going to have the progress journals. We're also going to have a finance paper. So kind of the big paper will be due at the end. Again, we'll talk more about that paper. I believe for this class, I think it is 4 pages. So it's not huge. 4 written pages of the main body of the paper. But we'll talk more about that. That will be worth 100 points. So look how these point totals work. I mean, the progress journal is 100. That's kind of easy points. I always tell students, make sure you get those assignments done that are the easy points. There's not much you have to do other than talk to me with the progress journals. So, and the finance paper, again, that's going to be a big chunk. That's a full letter grade if you think about it. Um, when you look at a course and the way it's broken down, we have 1,000 points in this course. If you fail to turn in this finance paper, well, you're already down to a B. All right, so we got that. But you got plenty of time to work on this and not to be stressed out. That's my objective here. Learning activities. Okay, so we've got the dreaded learning activities are back and they're probably going to stay. These will be kind of a hodgepodge. So some weeks we'll be doing problems out of the book. Some weeks you might be writing. I'll probably stay away from the writing. I'll talk about that in just a second. But you might be doing some exercises, maybe some mini case studies, really tiny case studies. So that's going to be just kind of a hodgepodge of stuff in there, really to focus on whatever that we're talking about in that week's module. Okay, get you some hands-on practice with that stuff. All right, so we've got the learning activities. We've got the final exam. All right, so we can't get away with a course without a final exam. So you'll have a comprehensive final, again, worth a full letter grade. So it's kind of worth it for you to take that and to make sure that you're reading the textbook as you go along. Midterms, a couple of midterms. 50 pointers just to kind of make sure, taking the temperature, that you're, um, keeping up with the material, and really, more of a gauge for you to see how you're doing with those midterms. They won't be devastating because they're only 50 points apiece, but they can help give you a good indicator how you're doing. So if you didn't do well on one and you're not devastated, you can definitely get a great grade in the class by correcting your course a little bit if you find out that you not did not do so well on a midterm. Topic essays. So the topic essays are back. For those of you that had me, I know this can be kind of rough because they are, a writing assignment due relatively quickly. I am changing it up a little bit for those of you that had me in accounting just in the first 8 weeks. What I am going to do is it's going to be a 5 paragraph essay. Now, um, in general, though, you're going to be at 2 pages. So I can't get away from that. It's roughly going to be 2 pages of content when you're going to follow a traditional 5 paragraph essay format. I'm going to give you a topic every week. So I guess plan for that. Write a little bit every night. If you do a paragraph a night, you'll be fine. Um, and I had some students comment, that geez, it's a lot of work. Well, remember, this is the 3 credit hour course, and typically in a traditional mode, a 3 credit hour course is spanning um, 16 weeks, meets twice a week for 16 weeks. We are down to 8 weeks. So we have to squeeze in basically 2 weeks of content for every single week. So a two-page kind of essay would not be out of the question in a kind of a within 2 weeks. But again, we're compressed, so you got the same amount of content in a quicker time period. But you should be okay. Again, write about a paragraph a night, and you'll be fine. And I'll show you a little bit more about when you see how it's scheduled. I think it's very manageable. And we'll look at the schedule in just a second. And then case studies. So we're going to have some case studies intermingled in with the topic essays. So if you see that we've got 6 topic essays and we got 2 case studies. So obviously there's going to be some weeks when you're not going to have to do the mini paper. Okay, so that'll help you out there, make that a little bit more manageable, and you can focus on those case studies a little bit more. Total points for the course is 1,000, so it's easy for you to kind of calculate, where you need to be point wise at the end of the course, um, based on our grading scale. Remember that if you want an A, you have to be over 930 points. Okay, so this will talk a little bit about those activities which I just ran through there. There'll be more information as the activities roll out to you. If I have a rubric for it, make sure you look at the rubric. Not every assignment will have a rubric, but if I do, it is to your best advantage to take a look at that, because that's how I grade. I'll look at the rubric. I'll basically check off, does the student have X, Y, Z, in the paper or the assignment, whatever that might be, and it just tells me what the grade is. After I fill out the rubric. So if you use the rubric to build the assignment, you know that, hey, I'm going to get an A on this as long as I fill everything out in this particular column. All right, so that's about that. Let's take a look real quickly here at the course schedule. This will give you kind of a flow of how things work. So if you notice here, we've got topic essay and learning activity. Those are going to be kind of the two things we do every week, with little twists in there. Sometimes it'll be for 2 weeks out of the 8. Instead of a topic essay, you'll have a case study. So it's topic essay learning activity, topic essay learning activity, progress journal, not a big deal. Case study, or the first case study in module 3, and learning activity. So you can kind of see how that all flows together. It's not too bad. Things start to get a little bit more serious though as we go along. Excuse me. More swallowing sounds here. As we go along towards the end, we've got some assignments that'll be due. So be careful. Make sure that you've kind of prepared for that. Especially in this case, the paper, the kind of the big paper, is going to be due in module 7. So what I want to do is get that paper graded and back to you in module 8. So I want you guys to be able to see the feedback and know what your grade is on that. So be thinking on that. We'll talk more about the paper very early towards the end of this module, or early in module 2, so you can start planning for that. and maybe whittling it away a little bit at a time so you're not freaking out over a weekend trying to write the paper. All right, now that's a little bit about things covering our syllabus walkthrough. A couple things on the course that I wanted to discuss as well. So, no, I don't want to save my changes. Let's just, all right, perfect. Okay, so the big thing I need you guys to do is make sure that you're watching the videos. You know, when I post a video like this one, hopefully you're watching it. If you are, great. But every week I do something called a week in review. Make sure you watch that because I'll be if I'm making any announcements or changes or uh, anything going on with the course will be happening in those videos. So sometimes I'll get students who are like, hey, when is that due? And I'm like, well, if you watched the video, you would have found out that I extended the due date to it. So, um, watch those videos, keep abreast of what's going on in the course. The videos will not be this long. We're running at 15 minutes right now. This is my syllabus walkthrough, which are usually a little bit longer, but they run up maybe 5, 7, max, 10 minutes. And then if we do something where I may be solving some problems or some questions that students have had, I'll usually have the first part directed to the kind of the weekend review. And then if you want to watch the second part where I may be going over an answer or a solution to a problem that was particularly difficult, that'll be in the second part of it. So, but usually it's only about 5 to 10 minutes. So make sure you're doing that. Also, with something to kind of be aware of, because we are very live with this course this semester, is that, as for example, in Module 1, and let me scoot this down a little bit. So we have our readings and presentations, and in here, I'm doing my lecturing on Mondays, and so look for those lectures to appear in that spot. Uh, It kind of poof by Monday at 5 o'clock. So you got plenty of things to do for the week. I mean, you can start your reading right now on Monday, and then on Tuesday you can start working through your video. And they're going to range in length. There might be little 5 minute ones. There might be, I don't know, 30-minute ones. I try not to do them over 30 minutes. So, but watch for in that space. Check back on Mondays after 5 o'clock Eastern, and the presentation will be in there. Okay. So that's pretty much covering, I think, kind of all the major areas for the course. There might be some extra credit. I'm thinking about a couple different things, maybe change it up a little bit for you guys, something a little bit different on extra credit. So take a look at that. Most of you will not need extra credit, but um, every now and then there's that student who maybe needs 10 extra points to push them up to a B or push them up to an A. So know that those extra credit opportunities will happen at least 2 times throughout this course. I'm not sure what form they're going to take, but stay tuned for that. Um, and that pretty much covers it for this week. Again, if you have any questions, problems, don't hesitate to reach out and contact me. Remember how I like to use Virtual Office, which is not much. Make sure you're texting me first to get a hold of me. That's the best way for us to talk. Questions of the virtual office will be addressed in the weekend reviews. All right. Well, again, welcome to this course. I'm so excited. I really like finance. It's an exciting thing. It kind of brings some of the foundations that we laid in accounting, brings it to the more exciting and decision making processes that we do, and that's what it's really all about. So for those of you who maybe have not had an accounting, no worries. I think you'll be fine in this course. There might be a few things where you may have to do just a little bit of extra um, look back, or if you don't know what an income statement is or a balance sheet, some Googling might be necessary, or you can always use the textbook and look in the first half of the textbook um, on those topics. But the two courses are in generally meant to stand alone, though we do like food students, if at all possible, to take accounting first and then this course, but not necessarily needed. This course will stand alone. All right, well, that concludes our welcome video and syllabus walkthrough. And as always, thanks for watching.